So this is our ADF. So we have created our ADF in the name of ADF pod. So here we have created that our blob storages. Click to the go to resource. Here you can see this one. So the overview. So we have that default options we have created when we are creating the blob storages, so that it is showing that blob service, file service, queue, table services, all these type of features are available. The left side, the data storages. These are all the data storages. So these are the data storages. Where regarding these data storages, we have discussed detailedly in that our data storage session. So just to go through that one and click the container. Now I'm going to container is nothing but just a folder. Container is nothing but it's just a folder. So here we have to click this container for creating this one. I'm going to create the one container, the container name, just I'm going to use it, the input, the name may only contain lowercase, sorry, by mistake, and I given that low capital. So the input, then the public access level by default, it will be the public only, the same as it is. You can leave it, then create here. So it is created, that one, that input is created. So I have created one container, that means one folder I have created. I'm going to create that one more container. That container, I'm going to use it for the output purpose. So I have created, then click. So here, so I have the containers, the input and output. The input container, so nothing is there. The location is input, nothing is there. So we have to store the file, upload the file. We have to upload the file. The upload file, actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to use that CSV file. The CSV file, how we can create it? You can create it in the notepad itself. You can create it notepad itself. See what I'm going to use it, customer ID, comma separated value files, comma separated value files. The live environment, the data actually will be available in this type of format files. But now here actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to creating this one. So customer ID, so customer name, so customer name and customer email, so customer mobile, something like this, and we're going to use it. See, or location, customer location. So here what I'm going to do, each line going to be represented as each record. So we discussed each line going to be represented as each record, the record actually. So from the first line actually what we have created now. So we have created the headers. It's like a column name in the SQL Server. Actually, when we are creating the table, first we have created that our column name like this. This first line is going to be represented our column name. The next line it is going to be that our record. The record actually one is that one ID, customer ID. The name is that one. Silva is the name, and the mail ID. So as.com and location. So the location, just I'm going to use it actually as of now. I'm going to take it that our local location, the Bangalore. Then second, 2. So pod p@p.com, the mail ID and location. So it is going to be Chennai. And third record. So third line, the third record. So here, and just I'm taking Raju r@r.com. Then here his location, it is going to be Hyderabad. And fourth record, the fourth record. So fourth record, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use it someone. So Nanda and his location, his mail ID is at n.com, and his location is Bangalore. Then what fifth here, show Shagul, and is, it should not be duplicate, so that I'm using S1, and he is from Hyderabad. Location is Hyderabad. Just put I'm having 5 customers records. I want to save it, so I'm going to save it. So the save where I'm going to save it now. So on one of the place, I'm going to save it in the name of cust.csv. The extension should be CSV, and save as type should be all files. Now I'm going to create this file as a CSV type file, the comma separated value type file. Customer. So CSV files now it is going to be in that comma separated value records. So here we are having that comma. This is the format actually we will have it. So just close this one and go to that your location, that local location, that input files. Here you can see this one. So Microsoft Excel, we have saved that notepad as a CSV file format. That is the reason it's converted to the type of comma separated value file. See, you can open as it is. The Excel format also you can open it. It will be shown like a Excel, but this is not a rows and columns order. It is in that our CSV order. So you can close this one. You can close this one. Suppose if you want to open it in that notepad, yes, you can open it, right click and open with the notepad. You can open it. Here you can see this file. So the live enrollment, our data, it is going to be that as comma separator values format only. Suppose comma separator values formats now, so you can open it if you want to view it now. You can open it in that Excel format view or else the notepad format view, notepad plus view also you can open it. Suppose if you're having, you can have it. So either one of the way you can open and you can view the data. So now this is our data. This data we have to upload into that our blob input container. I'm going to select this input upload. See here the upload icon. I have clicked the upload icon. The right side you can see this on files, the browse button. Click it and you can take it from here. You can take it from here. So here that input files. Here, what is this one? This is the file. We have to select it. Click. Now click upload. Cust.csv file. Just I'm going to upload it. Suppose the existing file if it is available, if you want to overwrite now, then you can check this option. You can check this option, overwrite. Later, rest of the part we will see later. Now we are having the file. See here, we are having the file, the cust.csv. So now we are having. Go to this blob storage. Here, output. The output container, nothing is there. So input container, we are having our file, the cust.csv. Now, what is our requirement? Now, what is our requirement? We have to move this file. That means copy, not moving, copy the file. We have to copy the file. From this input container to output container, we have to move it. So what are the things we have to create it? We have to create the link services first. So go to that your data factory, go to the data factory and go to the manage. In the manage, we are having the option for creating the link services. The link services, you have to select the link services. The right side plus icon, you have to click it for creating the new link services. Just I'm going to create the new link service. And the link services for what? Now we are going to create the link services for our containers, input and output containers. Those two containers where it is located, it is available in that our blob storage. Then you have to select this option, Azure blob storages. Now, which one is your storage? Azure blob is your storage. Azure blob is your storage. Then link services, you have to create it for the Azure blob storages. A lot of source storage environment is there. You have to choose it, which one is going to be your storage. That storage is, you have to select it here. Suppose if you have not find out now, you can type it here, blob. The search box, you can type it here, the blob only available. Select it and click continue. Then here, you are going to create that new link services, the link services name. I'm going to give the link services name. So we have discussed about the naming convention. The naming convention, if it is link services now, we have to start with the LS. We have to start with the LS. The LS representing it is the link services. The link services for what? Azure blob storage. Azure blob storages. We are creating this link services for Azure blob storages. Then ABS, Azure blob storage. Okay. Then you can give that your custom name. The link services for what? The link services for my input container. The link services for my input container. Just I'm giving that one, the input container. Description you can give it. What purpose you're going to use it, the description you can give it. And connect via integration runtime. Connect via integration runtime. Already we discussed the integration runtime, which one we have to choose it. We are having only one auto resolve integration runtime optional. Why it is showing only one? Why it is showing only one? Because that integration runtime by default we are having for the cloud to cloud, that Azure to Azure. If you want to do that any connections now, so the auto resolve integration runtime is available. Auto resolve integration runtime is available. So by default it is one available. So selected. Then the authentication type actually, so we have to use it in service access levels and the service principal system. So these things something will be totally new to you. So so later sometimes I will explain these things. As of now, we can use it that account key, default one, the account key, and the connection string. The connection string informations. The live environment, usually we will use this Azure Key Vault. The live environment, we will use that Azure Key Vault. It's a secure purpose. It's a secure purpose that all the credential details, everything, it will be encrypted and stored in somewhere. Actually, it's a separate resource environment. That environment is called Azure Key Vault. So we can create them as a separate resource. So we will see it in our later session actually. So now I'm going to use it that default in the connection string. And account selection method, I'm going to select it from my Azure subscription. The Azure subscription pay as you go. So this is my subscription. So account selection, so you can select using this one, and the storage account name. Which storage account we are going to use it? For which storage account we are going to create this link services? This link services actually we are going to create it for our blob storage account. The blob storage account we have created, right? The name of blob storage account Paul. So I'm using this one. So this is on. Then rest of the things we don't want to select it anything, just you can leave it as it is. Then you can check the connection, whether this connection is working or not. By clicking this test connection, you can check it. So connection is successful. So it is working fine. Then click create. See, the linked services, actually this linked services, see again, I'm clicking this one. So going to this one, the linked services, nowhere we mentioned that our input container or output container, right? Input container or output container. Then why actually we are keeping this name? Then why we are keeping this name, the input container? Should we want to keep this name? The naming convention, actually, we are using that. LS is representing that link services. The ABS is representing that Azure blob storages, right? But input container, do you want to keep this name like this one? So no, what I'm going to do, discard the changes. Just I'm going to delete it. Because for the input, for the output, both the containers are available in the same environment, the same container, same storage account only. Then, so the naming convention, that's what I'm creating and deleting and showing in front of you. So that this should be meaningful name. The name is meaningful name. Once you read the name now, you should understand what is this link services. The link services for the copy, or we are creating that blob. So blob storage, something, the meaningful name, you can give it anything. So common name, just I'm using the blob storages. The rest of the things all are same. Then here you have to select that your subscription and then your storage. Test connection. Yes, then click create. ls underscore abs underscore blob storage link services will be created. See, in our scenario, what we are going to do in that our scenario actually in this file, actually go to this one blob storages. We are going to copy this input containers customer CSV file into this output container, right? We are going to copy it. Then should I want to create the 2 link services or 1 link services? How many link services should I want to create it here? Anyone?
1, sir.
Okay, others? How many link services should I want to create it here? What about others? 1 or 2? I'm going to move the date copy from that our input container to output container. So 1 or 2. How many link services should I want to create it here? So Ashok answer is 1. Okay, fine. Praveen answer is 1. Okay, fine. What about Akhil? Natya? How many?
1, sir.
Sir, 1, sir, my answer is.
1. So all of you answering 1. I'm not pointing anyone. Just can anyone explain why we have to create that only 1 link services here, since we are having that 2 containers, input and output is a separate containers, then why we have to select only 1 link services? Anyone can answer.
Since we are using within the one blob storage, right, sir? Within the one blob storage.
Within the 1 blob storages. That is our point actually. So here, so in this one, actually we discussed how many link services we have to create it. For each storages, 1 link service is required in ADF V2. Each storages. The each storages means here our blob storage account part is our 1 storage. Even though if you're having that 2 container, both the containers available in our 1 storage only. For that 1 storages, so we have to create that only 1 link services. It is enough. So we have created the blob storage account 1. Fine. Now we have to create the data set. The data set we have to create. The data set only going to be represent that your file. The represent your container. The data set is only going to be represent that your container. From where to where you are going to create it. Now tell me how many data set I want to create it. How many data set I want to create it. One more time I will show you how many containers we are having. 2 containers we are having, input and output. All those 2 containers available in this our blob storage account called storage account. Now tell me how many data set I have to create it.
2, sir.
So 2 for what?
One is pointing to input file and another is pointing to output file.
Output file. One is pointing to input and another one is pointing to output. So now, so go to the ADF and go to the author icon. Then here you can see this on data sets. So here no one data sets available. Just click this 3 dot and click the new data set. The data set naming convention we discussed. The DS underscore the data set we are creating for the blob storages data only. Then ABS Azure blob storages. Then here we have to give this name input container because we are creating this data set for the input container. So that I'm giving this name that input container. Okay, fine. Then before giving the name, first we have to select the storage details. Storage and the type of the file, which format of the file you are going to store it in that environment. As of now, just I'm going to select that delimited file because the CSV file only we are going to copy and move it. So I'm going to select the CSV file, then click the continue. Here we have to give the name for our data set, and this data set going to be used which link services. the LSABS blob storages, LSABS blob storage. And what is that your container file path? Browse it. And which container you're going to select it? I'm going to select this input container. Then click OK. I'm not going to mention the file name. As of now, I'm not going to mention that any file name. I have created my data set, which is going to be pointing out your input container. Then click first row as header. Why first row as header? In our CSV file, we have created the data. The first line we have mentioned, what is that what we have mentioned? We have mentioned that first line we have mentioned the column name, cust ID, cust name, cust email, cust location. So first row as header, that information actually we are creating as a header or as a column, right? If the first record is going to be have your column details now, then the first row as a header. The standard way, always 90%, 99%, all the companies, they're keeping the standard way. So if they're using the CSV file now, the first record, it will be that header file only. So that I'm selecting this first row as header. And import schema. Should I want to select the from connection or store or none? What is this meaning? See here, I'm going to this one, just I'm opening this file, the customer CSV file. So here, actually this customer ID having numbers. The numbers actually, it should be in that number format. This text should be in the text format. Whatever the types are available in that your source data. Whatever the types already we discussed in that database concepts. So about the data types, what type of values, the string or number or decimal, something we have discussed. So here, whatever the values are available in what format, it is not a problem. But when I'm getting into that our Azure platform environment, it should be imported with the as it is format. The number first column, suppose if it is the number, then it should be in that number. So second column, if it is in that, what is this one? Text now, then it should be as a text one. So when we are bringing into that our Azure platform, the same data type should be forwarded. Then we have to choose it from connection store. We have to choose the connection store or connection store. Suppose if you don't want to import that along with your data type, then you can choose that none. Everything it will be in that text type, even if they are having that number or decimal types, everything it will be in the text format when you're choosing the none. But it is not a good practice. You have to select this one from connection and store because we don't know what type of columns are going to be there in our data, source data, CSV file. All data as it is, I want to import it. Now then you have to choose this import from schema from connection or store. This is the important point. By default, it will be selected only. But at the interview time, if they're asking now, you should know. Or else if you are using a from sample file, then you have to create that own sample file format. That file format, whatever the columns are available, that column format, it will be applied for your importing data. But mostly we will not go with this one. So this is the one we will use it. First one. But reason you should know. But in interview time, they may ask the question. So why and why not go with the none? They will ask. You can explain this one. So along with our data type, if you want to import our data from the source environment, the file, CSV file, now, then we have to choose it from connection or area. Suppose if you don't want to import our data along with our existing data types, then we can go with the none. Then click OK. Then click OK. So fine. So our data set is ready. One data set we have created. This is for that input container. So one is ready. One more I want to create it. Go to this one. So here, here, new data set. Again, I'm going to create the new data set for what? For the block only. Then click continue. Click continue. So the destination file, it is going to be in the delimited text format only. Then click continue. Here you have to mention that your container or the dataset name, This is for the output purpose. We are going to use it. Then I'm going to use that output container name. Then click. Link service is going to be a one common one only. And browse the output container. We have to select. Then click OK. Then here also it should be along with the header. Fine. Okay. The same reasons we have to choose this one. Fine. Then click OK. I'm not going to give any file name. Just I'm leaving as it is, the file path as it is. So data set, now we are having two data sets. So what are the things we have to create it for our scenario? So here we have created that our link services, and we have created that our data sets. Then we have to create the pipeline. After the pipe, inside of the pipeline only, we can use that our activities. So how many activities we have to create it? Only one copy activity. How many pipelines we have to create it? One pipeline. So Azure integration already. So we have created. See the steps: upload files, storage created, upload file created, uploaded, data factory created, link services created, source and sync data sets created. Now we have to create the pipeline. We have to create the pipeline. So pipeline, see here, pipelines, nothing is there. I'm going to create the pipeline, new pipeline. This is our pipeline. So for the pipeline, you can give the name. For the pipeline, the right side, we are having that properties panel. Here you can give the name for your pipeline. So copy CSV. So blob to blob. So within the blob only, we are going to move this one. So that's all. Then fine. Now, how we are going to copy the file? We need that copy activity. The copy activity, where it will be available? Move and transform. Move and transform. So under the move and transform, so we are having that our copy activity. So click and drag and drop it here. So drag and drop it here, the copy activity name. So here, so copy, so input, copy, CSV, input, so container to output container. Even if you want to give the meaningful, so it should be understandable. So that I'm giving this one, the copy CSV. So input container to output container. Input container to output container. The name is given. And regarding this copy activity, if you want to give the description, you can mention it. And then the timeout. So the actually hours, minutes, seconds like this, it will be mentioned. By default, it will be 7 days. It will wait for this one. So you can check it. So here, so the default one, see here, the maximum amount of time an activity can run, default is 7 days, which is also the maximum amount of time allowed. So format is a day, hour, minute, and seconds. So now it is in 7 days. Default one is a 7 days. So real-time scenario, so you can give some minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So you will discuss with your team, and then they will suggest you. So what are the default timing we are following for the timeout? So based on the timeout, actually, so we have to mention this one. As of now, just I'm leaving as it is. Then retry. Suppose one time failed, the copy one time failed. Copy is one time failed. So then should I want to retry? Yes, I want to retry. How many times I want to retry? 3 times. Okay. First time failed. So I have enabled that retry for 3 times. Then first time failed now. after how many seconds interval I want to retry. So by default, it is a 30 second. You can keep it as it is. So the first failure after the 30 seconds, so it will retry. The retry interval second, the 30 second. Suppose if you want to increase, then you can increase or reduce, not reduce. Then secure output and secure input. So all these things I'm not going to select it in. When checked an output from the activity will not be captured in logging. It will not be captured. Have any doubts, Praveen?
Sir, actually, timeout for the timeout, same format we have to use for the timeout.
Yeah, told you clearly, right? The default, and as of now, actually, I'm going to keep it as it is, the default one. But in the real-time
Okay.
scenario, every organization, they will follow that on default, on standard timeout for that based on that business. So that timing, it might be in that minutes. So 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or 1 hour, like that, it will be there. So based on that, your company's timeout suggestions, so you have to choose the timing here.
Okay. Okay, that is for 7 days, right?
But default
So
is 7 days.
days. Okay.
Default is 7 days. Fine.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So then actually, if you don't want to keep this information into that your log details, then you can check this one. So, but I'm not going to select it anything. And the even live environment also you can keep it as it is. Then go to the source. This is a general information, general inputs for your copy activity. So now go to the source. Source. Here we have to provide which data we are going to move. We are going to copy, not move, copy. Which data? The data represented in this our data set, the data set we have created. So input container. That input container we have created. The input container. Okay. Input container. And the file path type. File path type. Should I want to select any one of this one? As of now, just I am leaving as it is the file path and data set. File path and data set. The data set, what is the file path? The data set, the file path, what is this one? It is representing that what is this one? This is representing your input folder. This is representing your input container. So I'm going to leave it as it is. Fine. So this source, I'm going to select. What is this? Forgot, was it deleted or by mistake? Okay. Again, we have to create, the data sets got deleted. New data set 1, we have to select it for the input. Then continue the delimiter text. Here, data set for the Azure blob storages and for the input container. Input container. And the link services, the LSABS, and what is the container name? The input is the container name. Then click OK, then first source. The rest are the same. So, okay, fine. Now go to this. So the source, we have to select this one, input container. So the input container, so we are having, fine. So file path, I'm not going to do anything, just leave it as it is. Recursively, so these two parts actually will be important. I'm going to keep it as it is now. Then go to the sync. The destination actually is output container is a destination. So the output container actually, it is representing what? The output container actually representing that our output container name. Then copy behavior, I'm not going to select anything. I'm not going to select anything, just leave it as it is. So here actually we are having the 3 types of copy behavior. Actually we are having separate session to understand this copy behavior, but now I'm going to leave it as it is. Then file extension. So we are going to store it type of .csv. The .csv file. That's all. Then mapping. The mapping, actually, I'm checking that import schemas. I'm checking that import schemas. So the source is going to be customer ID. Then the destination also is going to be customer ID. So same format it will be. So mapped automatically. So automatically it will be mapped. The settings, you don't want to do it anything, just leave it. User properties also. The settings actually, so the DAU option, the default actually per hour DAU, the $0.25 actually. So for the copying, you can leave it as it is. So you can increase also, but if you are increasing now, the cost will be increased. Just I'm using that our auto default only. That's all. Now come to this, the debug, the publish all, this publish all for saving your pipeline. So I'm not going to save it. Without saving, if you want to run your pipeline now, then you can click the debug, click the debug. So here, copy CSV input container to output container data set. So input count container location is folder. The wildcard file name is required for copy CSV input container to output container. See here, select again, go to the source. Here, this one. So actually representing what? This one representing that your folder. That means the container. Container is nothing but a folder. So it's container folder. So if you are choosing, if your data set is pointing your container, see again I will show that error. Data set, that data set DS, ABS, input container, location is a folder. That means it's pointing out the folder. The wildcard file name is required for this copy activity. So come to this one. I'm closing this one and come to this one. The file path type, it is not allowing the file path in dataset. Since it's pointing that folder, so you should not use this file path in dataset. Instead of this one, you have to use the wildcard file path, because that folder may contain one file or multiple file, but I don't know which file should I want to copy. Should I want to copy all the files, or should I want to copy that particular file? I have no idea. It is showing that error like that. The idea of this activity, this copy activity, shown that error. So since this data set is representing folder now, I cannot copy this one. I need that one. Instead of that file path data set, I need the wildcard file path. Why we have to choose the wildcard file path? The wildcard file path, at least up to which one representing this data set? This data set is representing up to input folder. Up to input folder. Then inside of the input folder, which one I want to copy, that part actually we will continue. The session is going to be time out. I will stop it and start it again. Please join immediately.